Hey, it's Chris King at the Fly Shop. I was just at Christmas Island recently this year and found out that they really like sparse flies there. The guides themselves will take the flies that we send you down with and actually pull some material out. So if you're a tyer, you can start off by tying it sparse as it is. This is a Christmas Island special, and I tie it pretty sparse in sizes 8, sizes 6, sizes 4, and in different weights, heavy dumbbell eyes all the way to plastic bead chain eyes, so that it's got almost no weight at all. Just very light on the craft fur that's in there. Different crystal flash colors, orange, pinks, coppers, maybe a mix of some at times. And then lastly, I like to put just a couple of little, silly legs or some kind of rubber legs on there, just in case you're on a pause on a fish and you're waiting. Those legs will keep movement in the fly and kind of wiggle along in the current like this as you're waiting for him to get closer for those couple extra strips to really turn him on. But this is the Christmas Island special. Let me show you how to tie it. So this fly, I like to tie in an 8. It seemed to be my best size when I was there. I tied them in 6s, 4s. I tied some heavy. I tied some lighter, even with plastic bead chain. But this number 8 with this little copper bead chain was probably my best when I was there. So when you're tying on this bead chain, you want to tie it back just a little bit. And notice I don't have it all the way up front by the eye of the hook, because I want to leave a little bit of room so I can put my wing on at the end. Do a couple crisscrosses, and then I like to come under the dumbbell here. Just make that nice and strong so it doesn't spin. A lot of times these like to spin when you're fishing them, and they get sideways and then they look funny. And just to make sure, I'll just get a little here. That loon thin. Give that a little burn there, and then I'll come back again with that after the fly is done, just on the underside of it. This is actually going to be the top of the fly here. It's going to ride upside down, so I'll come back on the underside of it just to keep the strength so you can catch multiple fish on it and all of your crystal flash doesn't break up. That'll be good. So the Christmas Island special is just really a Charlie, just got a little bit of a tail. So I'm just going to take a smattering of this here. And again, this is just orange crystal flash. You can do an orange copper, you can do chartreuse pink, and you can mix them. That's good too. You take a couple strands of each different color and get some different colors in there. I'll take these strands and I'll just kind of pull some of them out a little bit just so they're not so even. I want them to be a little bit staggered like that, okay? The tail I tie in, I want about as long as the fly. So this is an 8, so I'll measure it down there like this. And then I'll just pop this in like so. Lash it down, make sure I like that length, and I do. And so then I'll just kind of work my way forward with it. And I want this body, even though it might not be a big deal to some, I want this body to be pretty even. So I'm going to wrap that flash all the way forward, and then I'm going to bring it all the way back and lash it down this way. That way you don't have just that one little nugget at the back when you tie that in. I'll wrap this forward and come back in front of the head. All right, now I take my longer strand and I'm just going to wrap it up like so. You see how it's starting to spread out a little bit, and it's going to get a nice, even, slow wrap on that. And then I'll just bring that forward underneath the eyes there, and just again, just kind of lash it down right in front of there like so. And we'll flip her over. And now I'm going to take this crystal flash and I'm going to bring it back along the hook here and lash it down in front. Just like that. It's just going to kind of hang out there like so. And I'll take this and kind of try to separate it a little bit as best as I can. And again, I don't want this to be even. I want it to be kind of staggered. So I'll just kind of spread it out this way. And I'll go about like so. Just that angled cut as it comes up there. We'll kind of stagger the pieces if I can separate them. Just like that. Got those nice little staggered pieces. They like them really sparse. I'm not sure why, but I took a bunch down there that I didn't tie as sparse. And it seems like every time I gave it to the guide, he was trimming it or pulling it or picking stuff out of it. So I'll take just a little bit of craft fur here, this tan craft fur, and I want the really fine ends that are there like that. So all this under fur I don't need. I'll just pull all that out like that. And again, I don't want any of this to be even. So you see how when I'm cutting it, it's nice and staggered, and that's the way I like it. But it's just a real sparse pattern here, and I'll kind of even that up. And notice that the wing, the crystal flash, all is going to cover everything, including that hook there. And I'll just kind of lash this down. Pull this up, and I give it just a little bit of a twist, just so I can get it nice and tight. And just pop that off right there. Now you could finish it like that. Perfectly good fly. It'll catch plenty of them as you go. But if the fly's not moving and it just sits, this fly doesn't seem to do much when it's just sitting on the grass or on the sand. So I just tie in a strand of this silly floss. And it's really for me, not for the fish, but who knows, right? Confidence is a huge thing. And so if I just tie in this little bit of silly floss on there, it actually floats. Not the whole fly, but just the floss will float. And so these two little pieces of silly floss that are there, once it's gonna come down, I'll just trim that a little bit long. Once it comes down, sits on the bottom, these little guys will kind of float up, that rubber does, and it just kind of moves a little bit even when you're not putting movement in the fly, and sometimes those bonefish will come in and just grab it. So that's pretty much the Christmas Island special, tied super sparse for Christmas Island, and that's the way they like it. We'll just finish with a little whip finish here, and I'll do two of them. I don't know why I got in the habit way back in the day of doing two, but I always do two whip finishes on it. Like that. We'll trim it up, and the last thing I do is flip it back over and come back, and I'm just going to run that bead of glue all the way down on the back side. Like so. That'll keep it nice and strong. You'll be able to get a few fish out of it. That's pretty much it. It's a pretty quick tie. They're super easy. Tie them in 6s, 4s, 8s, different weights, heavier, lighter. And like I said, even some with like a plastic bead chain so that they're super light. Tide's going to be different the whole week you're going to be there. So you want to make sure you have heavier and lighter stuff for all the different tides that you're going to experience, especially when you're chasing those bones. That's pretty much it. There she goes.